Airlines are draining your bank account while you sit in silence. Right now, a hidden danger is lurking beneath your seat. Deep vein thrombosis can turn into a silent killer because of cramped legroom and poor circulation. Carriers manipulate seat maps and trap you with hidden fees that can cost you over $600 in a single trip. Stop. The system is rigged against the average traveler. You need these 9 rules to survive the terminal and reclaim your comfort. Here is Rule 1 of 9. 90% of passengers believe the aisle armrest is a permanent wall of steel. It isn't. Lucas, a 52-year-old architect from Chicago, found himself pinned in his coach seat at Vienna International Airport, VIE. He was facing a 10-hour flight back to the United States. His broad shoulders were cramped against the plastic molding of the cabin wall. He felt like a sardine in a tin can. The airline won't tell you this because they prefer you stay confined and out of the way of the beverage cart. But that outer armrest is not actually locked in place. Look closely at the underside of the armrest near the hinge. Reach under the fabric or plastic casing right where the armrest connects to the seat back. In most aircraft models, you will find a small button or a hidden recessed lever tucked away from view. Slide your finger along the underside and press it firmly. The armrest swings up instantly. Suddenly, you gain an extra 2 inches of hip and shoulder room. Lucas found the latch and finally felt the physical relief he needed for the long haul. It makes getting in and out of the row much faster during the flight. Space is the ultimate luxury in economy class. Understand the logic behind this. This feature exists primarily for emergency evacuations and to assist passengers with limited mobility during boarding. Because of this, crew members will likely ask you to lower the armrest during takeoff and landing to comply with safety protocols. Always follow their instructions. Don't become a target for the flight marshal. Reclaiming your space is a privilege, not a right, but knowing where that button is can change your entire flying experience. You just won back your shoulder room, but your comfort won't save your wallet if you ignore Rule 2 of 9, the stability sweet spot. Move your seat to the center of the cabin before you finalize that digital check-in. Elena, a 27-year-old freelance illustrator from Portland, sat clutching the armrests at Lisbon Portela Airport, LIS. The flight was already delayed by 2 hours. The clouds over the Atlantic looked dark and ominous. Elena's stomach churned as the heavy jet taxied toward the runway. She was stuck in the very last row, and every tiny bump on the tarmac felt like a major tremor. Stop. This is the simple physics of modern flight. The back of a plane is often the worst place for anyone prone to motion sickness. You need to visualize the aircraft like a massive 150-foot seesaw. When the nose tilts up during a climb, the tail swings down with amplified force. The airline won't tell you this because they need to fill those rear rows regardless of your personal well-being. The system is designed to put the uninformed in the shakiest spots. The solution is straightforward. Try to sit directly over the wings. This area is the center of gravity and acts as the pivot point for the entire vessel. While the tail might be whipping up and down by 3 feet during heavy chop, the center usually moves only a few inches. Elena didn't know this and spent 7 hours in seat 38F, feeling like a rag doll. It is the difference between a restful nap and a waking nightmare. Reality check. Turbulence is an unavoidable part of flying, but you don't have to be on the receiving end of the whip. Elena survived the flight, but sitting in the middle won't save your knees when Rule 3 of 9, the bulkhead reality check, ruins your storage. Marcus, a 41-year-old systems analyst from Dallas, settled into seat 1A at Charlotte Douglas International Airport, CLT. He stretched his legs out and felt like he had finally beaten the system. He had the extra legroom he always wanted. Then the flight attendant approached with a firm look. "Sir, your laptop bag has to go in the overhead bin for takeoff." Marcus froze. No floor storage? None at all. The luxury of the front row just became a high-priced storage disaster. He had to stand up, block the boarding line of 100 angry passengers, and shove his essentials 10 rows back because his local bins were already stuffed with coats. The airline won't tell you this when you book the seat. They are banking on your ignorance of cabin configurations. You pay a premium for legroom, but lose immediate access to your gear for the first and last 40 minutes of the flight. This is where the small details can ruin a big trip. Here is the fix. If you crave the bulkhead for the knee space, pack a slim tech kit. Use a tiny sleeve for your phone, tablet, and charger that fits into the small wall pocket in front of you. Or, better yet, choose row 2 or the exit row. You get nearly the same amount of legroom and keep your bag right at your feet. Most people miss this distinction. Stop paying for inconvenience. Legroom is not a guarantee of a smooth trip. It's a tactical choice. Reality check. Bulkhead seats offer great knee space, but zero reach for your belongings. Marcus spent the flight staring at a carpeted wall, unable to reach his laptop to finish his work. This minor storage trap is nothing compared to the money you lose when Rule 4 of 9, the seat map illusion, hits you. Have you ever wondered why a half-empty flight shows almost every seat as occupied with a gray X on the app? Take Julian, a 33-year-old middle school teacher from Austin. He was booking a last-minute flight to Atlanta, ATL, late on a Tuesday night. His heart sank as he saw only middle seats available on the digital map. Every other spot was blocked off. He felt trapped and claustrophobic. He needed an aisle seat for his tall frame, but the system said the plane was full. He almost paid an extra $75 for a premium seat just so he could breathe. The airline won't tell you this, but those X marks aren't always real people. Carriers often block entire rows to balance the aircraft's weight or to hold spots for elite frequent flyers who might book at the last second. They are banking on your panic. Often, these blocked seats unlock exactly 24 hours before departure during the check-in window. Julian didn't realize this and nearly wasted his hard-earned money. Another trick is to check the map again 40 minutes before boarding begins. As the gate agents balance the final manifest, those blocked seats often flip to available for anyone to grab. Just ask the agent at the desk a professional question. Is 12A actually occupied, or is it just blocked for weight and balance? It works because it shows you understand the operational side of the airline. Small questions lead to big upgrades. Understand this: it is not a magic trick, and sometimes the flight really is packed to capacity. However, in many cases, those gray X's are just digital placeholders. Julian eventually got his aisle seat for free by waiting until he reached the gate in Atlanta. You just saved nearly $100 on a seat. But that is nothing compared to the frustration you feel when Rule 5 of 9, the windowless window seat, ruins your view. A staggering number of frequent flyers don't realize that their airline's digital seat map is a simplified cartoon rather than a technical blueprint. When Sophie, a 35-year-old graphic designer from San Diego, booked her flight, she trusted the interface. She paid an extra $50 for a window seat. She wanted to see the sunset over the Rockies. Sophie boarded at San Diego expecting a view of the clouds. Instead, she sat down in seat 11A. She looked to her left and saw nothing but a blank, beige plastic wall. The disappointment was immediate. 5 hours of staring at plastic because the window was misaligned by 12 inches. The airline is banking on your ignorance of the physical aircraft architecture. Your airline seat map is a drawing. You need a blueprint. Before you click Confirm, check a third-party site like Aerolopa. These tools show the actual internal layout of the plane, flagging seats where windows are missing or where the seat recline is restricted by a bathroom wall. They expose the bad rows the airline wants to sell you at a premium price. Reality check. Carriers sometimes swap plane models at the last minute due to maintenance, so no map is 100% perfect. However, for Sophie, a 30-second search on her phone would have prevented a miserable, dark journey. You just secured the best seat in the house, but it won't help if the airline cancels your flight and leaves you stranded on the terminal floor. That is where Rule 6 of 9, the gate agent protocol, becomes your shield. Watch the gate agent carefully before you even think about approaching the podium. They hold the keys to your entire itinerary. Clara, a 24-year-old photographer from Seattle, SEA, found herself stranded during a massive winter storm. Her 7 p.m. flight to Denver, DEN, was overbooked, and the gate area was a scene of pure chaos. A man in an expensive suit was shouting at the agent, waving his boarding pass and demanding a supervisor. The agent's face went completely stone cold. Most passengers see the gate agent as a mere clerk. In reality, they are the most powerful individuals in the airport. They decide who gets the last seat on the next flight, who gets the premium hotel voucher, and who spends the night on a cold carpet. The airline won't tell you this, but agents have the authority to move you up the standby list or waive fees if you are helpful rather than a headache. They are banking on your stress. Clara took a deep breath and waited for the shouter to leave. Then she walked up and asked a simple human question. "I can see it's been a rough afternoon. How are you holding up?" It was a moment of genuine connection in a sea of anger. She didn't demand a seat, she asked for options. Within minutes, the agent's demeanor shifted. Clara didn't just get a seat on the next flight out. She walked away with a $400 travel credit for her trouble. Kindness is a strategic tool. Understand that these agents deal with hundreds of stressed people every single day. They aren't robots. While a smile won't fix a broken engine, it often unlocks doors that stay closed for everyone else. Clara made it to Denver. The man who was shouting was still at the desk when she boarded. You won the gate battle. But what happens when the entire airline system goes dark? A voucher is useless if you get caught in Rule 7 of 9, the basic economy trap. When Victor walked into Boston Logan International Airport, BOS, at 5 a.m., he felt like a travel genius. He had snagged a flight for $40 less than the standard rate. He planned to spend that extra cash on a nice dinner at his destination. But at gate C19, reality hit him like a ton of bricks. The agent glanced at Victor's carry-on bag and then at his digital boarding pass. A frown immediately followed. "Sir, your ticket does not include overhead bin access. This bag must be checked." Victor's savings were about to evaporate. The airline won't tell you this, but they are banking on your ignorance of the fine print. Because Victor bought the cheapest possible fare class, his bag was considered a liability. The agent didn't care that the bag fit the standard 22 by 14 by 9-inch limit. The rule wasn't about the dimensions of the bag. It was about the fare class written on the ticket. The price to check that bag at the gate was $65, plus a $25 gate handling fee. His $40 savings turned into a $50 loss. Small choice, big cost. Look past the base price when you search for flights. Most travel sites now show a no bag icon next to the cheapest tickets for a reason. If you have anything larger than a small backpack, basic economy is a financial trap. Always calculate the total cost of transport before you hit buy. Often, the main cabin fare is only $30 more, but includes a carry-on and a better seat. Victor learned this lesson the hard way while watching his bag disappear into the cargo hold. They profit from your lack of attention. Reality check. While some gate agents might be lenient on a slow day, major carriers use automated systems that flag these tickets the moment they are scanned. Politeness might waive a personal fee, but the bag cost is usually fixed in the system once you reach the gate. Victor made his flight, but his cheap vacation started with a negative balance. Losing money is frustrating, but losing your health is a different story. You just saved a few bucks, but that is nothing compared to the risk you take when Rule 8 of 9, the leg health protocol, hits you. Have you ever felt a dull, throbbing ache in your calf after sitting in a cramped middle seat for 6 hours? Diana, a 56-year-old pharmacist from Salt Lake City, SLC, was flying back from a long international trip. She spent the entire journey pinned between two sleeping passengers, afraid to wake them up to use the restroom. By the time she landed at Salt Lake City International Airport, her left leg felt heavy and strangely warm to the touch. The pain radiated upward like a slow-burning fire. She assumed it was just typical travel fatigue. Most people make that same dangerous assumption, but the airline won't tell you this. Sitting perfectly still in a pressurized cabin for hours can turn your blood into a ticking time bomb. This is deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. It happens when blood pools in your lower limbs and forms a solid clot. If that clot breaks loose and travels to your lungs, it becomes a life-threatening pulmonary embolism. Here is the fix. Wear compression socks that provide at least 15 millimeters of mercury of pressure. Stay hydrated by drinking at least 8 ounces of water for every hour you are in the air. Most importantly, perform seated calf raises every 30 minutes. Flex your feet upward, hold for 3 seconds, and then release. This movement acts like a manual pump for your veins, forcing blood back toward your heart. Moving your body is not optional, it is survival. While the risk is real, a simple walk to the back of the plane every 2 hours reduces the danger significantly. Diana made it home safely, but only after a very expensive and scary visit to the emergency room. Health is not a luxury you can afford to ignore when you're 30,000 feet in the air. You just saved your life, but that is nothing compared to the stress you feel when Rule 9 of 9, the boarding clock, ruins your trip. 45% of travelers on Southwest Airlines forget the most important clock in the industry, the 24-hour check-in window. If you miss that window by even 60 seconds, you aren't just late for a seat, you are doomed to the dreaded C group. Take Leo, a 31-year-old chef flying out of Phoenix Sky Harbor. He was busy in the kitchen and checked in just 15 minutes late for his flight to Chicago. The result was boarding position C-45. As he stood in the terminal at Phoenix, the realization hit him like a cold wave. He knew exactly what awaited him on that Boeing 737. A middle seat between two strangers on a 4-hour flight. No legroom, no window view, and no place to put his elbows. Just pure, cramped misery. The airline won't tell you this, but your seat is essentially decided long before you ever reach the jet bridge. Here is the professional fix. If you find yourself in Leo's shoes, check the airline app constantly in the 2 hours before your departure. Passengers often change their flights or get last-minute upgrades, and their better boarding spots sometimes cycle back into the available pool. You can also pay for upgraded boarding at the gate for about $30 to $50. It is an extra cost, but it is often the only way to escape the purgatory of the middle seat. Reality check. These gate upgrades are limited and usually sell out within minutes. Southwest's open seating policy is a gamble that rewards the fast and punishes the distracted. Speed and a few extra dollars can save your back and your sanity. If you don't know these rules, the airport will take your money and your comfort every single time. Don't let the airlines win by keeping you in the dark. The system is designed to profit from your silence, but now you have the tools to fight back. Knowledge is your real boarding pass to a better experience. The airlines hate that you know these secrets, so hit subscribe to keep winning the travel game.